What is up, guys? It is the Redstone Scientist here, and I am here with a tutorial / explanation of the block wands, or otherwise known as Thaumcraft's Wand of Equal Trade in vanilla Minecraft. So, basically, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get yourself a new world, or an existing world, it doesn't matter. But the important thing is that you don't just choose a regular super flat world, because that will put you, at a y coordinate that is incompatible with this. You cannot use this machine below y coordinate 11. And why? It's a little bit tricky. But basically, so what you want to first do is you want to make sure, you want to open up your F3 screen by pushing F3 or function F3 on a Mac, and you will be able to see right here your X, Y, and Z coordinates. Now, those are going to be most likely they are not 0, 0, 0, and it is important that you are at 0, 0, 0. So what you're going to do is you're going to do TP/TP at P, 0 space tilde, that's important so you don't get suffocated, space 0. And now you will be teleported, just give it a minute, you will be teleported to 0, 0, the center of your world. Now what you're going to want to do here is, if you don't already have your spawn chunk set up, you want to do /set world spawn. You could also just do /set W and push tab, and it will do the same thing. And press enter. So now your world spawn is set to an area that includes 0, 0, which is important because the machine is coordinate dependent. So now what you want to do is you can go ahead and close the F3 screen, do /give at P command_block, and you got yourself a command block now. So you're going to want to place down 3 command blocks just like that. Great. So now what you want to do is you want to go to the paste bin, which I will link in the description, and you're going to take command number 1 and paste it into here. And push done. Now you're going to go and take command number 2 and copy and paste it into here. Great. And now you want to go and get number 3 and paste it into here and hit done like that. Okay, so now you've got all 3 of your commands in. You're going to open up your creative inventory, get yourself a redstone block or a button, doesn't really matter. But let's just take a redstone block and activate this first command here. And it will set it up. It will remind you, please make sure you're in the spawn chunks, and the point 0, 0 will always stay loaded. Also, activate the second command after all of those entities and blocks are finished moving. So go ahead and activate the second command, and it will spawn the machine somewhere. Thank you to Gentle Giant and Zaphonics for making the MC edit filter. And now you just activate the third command. And there you go, the entire thing is installed in your world. You can go ahead and remove all of this stuff. Now, in order for any of these buttons to work, you're going to need to first activate the machine. So to do that, just come over here and right-click to activate right on that sign there. And it will activate the machine for you. Great. So now you can go back here. Block Wand's been installed in your world, created by the Redstone Scientist. Click here to visit the channel. Also make sure that the structures in the spawn chunks, which include the point 0, 0, or the machine, will not work. And this will show you how to do what we just did on camera. So now these buttons, which are now activated because you right-click the sign, you can use to, so let's get into the instructions book. How to use block wand. So we'll go over this very briefly. Now you can press this button, Get Wand, at any time to get yourself a wand. Now in my resource pack it looks like this, but without the special resource pack, which I will link in the description as a download, it will look like a banner with a sun pattern flower thing on it. But anyway, here is your magic wand. Now let's go back to the book. You right-click the activate sign, which you will have already done in order to get this book, and you get a wand by either clicking the text above or by right-clicking the middle sign on the machine, like so, right over there. Now, right-click, the first thing you want to do is you want to right-click with your wand on almost any block to select your brush. And you want to make sure to click on any face of the block except the underside, because banners cannot be placed on the undersides of blocks. And this is also just a reminder, the brush will be the block that is replacing the canvas. And then you right-click again with your wand on a different block to select your canvas, which will be the block replacing the brush. So, also make sure not to use the wand at or below y equals 11. And the spell will continue to propagate until you deselect the wand or there are no more adjacent canvas blocks. You cannot cast 2 spells in a row. Cool down your wand by deselecting it. Okay, so let's do a little example, shall we? Any block that you can place a banner on will work with this machine, except for falling things that have gravity, like anvils and sand and gravel. So let's convert all this stuff into redstone blocks. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take our magic wand and right-click on any face of the block except the underside. And it says, please continue to hold your wand, brush selected. Now, there's a feature implemented in this system where you don't have to stay still while you do it. So it'll work. So you could just like fly by and right-click, and there you go, it'll still work. So the brush is selected. Now, if you deselect the wand, all of your settings will be lost. Now, it knows that this is the second time you're going to right-click, so you right-click on the redstone block, and it will cast the exchange spell. Oh, whoops, I did it backwards. The first thing we select is the brush, and then we select the canvas, and it will propagate just like that. And you can see once there are no more stone bricks to replace, the spell will stop. But in order to use the spell again, you are going to have to deselect the wand, and it says your wand is cooled down and the memory of your selections is gone. Then if you want to destroy the machine, all you have to do is right-click this sign here. I'm not going to do it because I still have to explain how it works. And your machine will be removed. The magic wands will no longer work. So that is basically all there is to know. If you need help troubleshooting, just deselect the wand and try again, and that should fix it. If it doesn't, just contact me and I'll see what I can do. Alright guys, so if you want to stick around for the explanation, feel free, but if not, thank you very much for watching. Okay, so, how does this work? Well, first let's look at the structure of the machine itself. As you can tell, this is a very informal video. So let's look at the structure of the machine itself. We're actually going to remove the command blocks here, and we're just going to look at the bare bones of it. So now the way I did this is I actually constructed this thing in command blocks spread out all over my testing world, because there were various different steps and modules I had to do, and they all had to be executed in a certain order. And so basically what I decided to do instead was basically condense it all into this traditional vertical horizontal area thing, and use colored wool to do a fill replace. I'm not going to go over a lot of details of the commands. For people who understand commands, they'll understand this portion. So this yellow here is the main clock. Now, right one block deeper than this stone block is, actually no, right at that stone block, there is an invisible squid that gets summoned whenever you right-click to activate sign. It will kill any previous squid and summon in a new one. And that just sits there the whole time. And all fill commands are executed off of that squid, so that I don't have to do any recalculating whenever I want to move commands blocks. So the yellow is going at 20 times a second all the time, okay? And that is the main clock that controls the rest of it. And then, when I want to execute another thing, the black is the summoning of the ArmorStand, scanning ArmorStand. The quartz is just filler. The stone is so that you can use the tell raw things, because the commands I need for the tell raw are longer than 100 characters, because you can't do that in a tell raw. So it basically just executes at the squid to set a block where we want a give command or a link to go. So then basically all these colors just do different things. And so let's hop into the original world so I can show you how it works. So here we are in Block Wand, and boy is it a mess here. I'll spare you the details of all of the things. This was the original version of the creation that I then spent many, many days compacting and making work. Most of this process was debugging. Now, let's look right here. This is what I started out with, which is I knew that the way I wanted to detect it, basically, how do you detect what block a player clicks on without using all sorts of complex trigonometry to figure out based on the direction the player is looking, the blocks around them? That would be very difficult and would require a lot of math and a lot of command blocks. So, what I decided to do is, what kind of block can we place that can be placed that has a specific orientation? Let me take off the resource pack. That has a specific orientation, so that way we can tell which block it's pasted on. And also, actually, this is the wrong one. We can tell what block it's pasted on and also apply to the most number of blocks. And the answer is a banner. Now, I did some testing in a testing world, and whoops. I did some testing in a testing world, and the banner can be placed on over 281 different blocks, and that, I say over because it depends on your definition of a block. Are different colors of wool a block, and also it increases to an infinite number of blocks if you count NBT data, because you can clone command blocks as well. So that means that each block is not hard-coded into the system. It's based upon the banner. So in order to do that, we need to be able to track when the player places a banner, which we use using a scoreboard objective, and then do a scan to find the banner. And once we find the banner, based on the direction the banner is facing, we can tell what block the player right-clicked. So the reason why we have this set up right here is because I was testing what is the farthest distance that a player can place a banner. And this little box-ish thing, this layout represents all of the possible locations. So what happens is, first we summon an ArmorStand here, and then executing from that ArmorStand, we summon an ArmorStand here. Then executing from both ArmorStands, we summon an ArmorStand 2 blocks up. So that way we save on commands. We don't have to have a command to summon every single ArmorStand in a big wall, because that's what it's going to end up. An ArmorStand here, 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 in this big wall stretching up to here. We execute at all the previous ArmorStands in order to have an exponential growth. So it happens faster, and it has fewer commands. Then we not slowly, but every tick, we teleport all the ArmorStands along this selection one by one. So it goes here, then it goes here, then it goes here, then it goes here. By the way, allowing the player to move during this process was very important. So right after the player places a banner, a sheep gets summoned right at them, an invisible sheep that will act as the center of where the player was when they placed the banner. So the ArmorStands will continue scanning, scanning, scanning until it finds a banner. Either a wall banner or a standing banner, because they are two different things. That's just a glitch, the thing that's going on now. So then what happens is it says, okay, if it's a standing banner, then we know it is definitely the block below the banner that we need to select as the brush. And if it's a wall banner, then we need to detect which way the banner is facing, which the banner has different block data or damage value that will determine which way it's facing. And therefore, if it's facing this way, we know that we need to select this block right here. Okay, so once we find a banner, this also prevents it from glitching out if there's more than one. Once it finds a banner, it kills all the ArmorStands, everything is done, except once we figure out where the banner is, so at this point we know that the player right-clicked that block, right? So now what we can do is we can summon an ArmorStand at the location of this block, okay? And that caused a lot of... I'll spare you all of the debugging that went into this. So we summon an ArmorStand there. Then, after we kill all of the big wall of ArmorStands, we say, okay, now it's time for the player to pick a canvas. And also, just to get things out of the way, before the player selects a canvas, the ArmorStand clones this particular block, the block that it's in, to the coordinates 0, 1, 0. So that is bedrock, so that you'll never be able to see it in a survival world, because you can't see any blocks at that level because it's covered by bedrock. So that will put it at 0, 1, 0. Then we delete that ArmorStand so that the area is clean. So we basically have a clean area. We've deleted the banner. The banner gets deleted, and we have a cloned block that represents our brush down below. Then the system goes into the second stage, which means that the next time the player right-clicks, we're going to do this whole thing again. And I actually use the same command blocks to do it. We're going to do this whole thing again, the scanning for the banner. And this time, we're going to clone it to 0, 0, 0. So that way we have a brush on top of a canvas. So here's the canvas, here's the brush. And so that's an easy way for me to remember. Now, because of that, that's why gravity blocks won't work, because at 0, 0, 0, they'll just fall into the void. So now you may ask, well, why don't you just put it 1 Y level higher? Well, because I didn't think of that till later, and it proved, for some reason, incredibly complicated to change. So, the next thing is, it says, okay, now that we have the brush and canvas, let's start the conversion process. So, it will leave the ArmorStand that got summoned at the banner the second time, which is where the canvas block is, the starting block, and it summons it summons armor stands in 6 directions. One to the left, one to the right, one in front of, one behind, and one below, and one above. And it will basically test to see, it will do a test for blocks command to check whether the block that the armor stand is in, is the same block and same block type, the same block as the block that is at the coordinates 0, 0, 0. And if it is, then we change the block type, and we summon 6 new armor stands. And if it isn't, we kill that armor stand. So that allows the whole thing to propagate. I would show you with visible armor stands, but I'm not going to. So it says, all right, this is one, so now we're going to summon in all directions. This is one, so now we're going to summon in all 6 directions, and so on and so forth. Now, the problem I was having with this is when it came to 3-dimensional spaces like this, there would be armor stands that summon. So, like, if this is the armor stand summoning 6 in each direction, right? We also have another armor stand here that summons 6 in each direction. Now we have 2 armor stands in the same place. And you multiply that, with exponential growth through a cube, it gets incredibly laggy, and pretty soon you're up to 30,000 armor stands. So I put out a video called the C = Challenge, where I challenge people to find a way to basically, in that scenario, eliminate excess armor stands so there was only 1 armor stand within each block. And it proved surprisingly difficult. I needed to ask for help because it seems like an easy thing, but once you sit down and try, it's actually very difficult. And up until shortly before I released the creation, Team Wooloo, it's a great channel, you should check them out, gave me the best solution, which involved quite a few command blocks, but it worked the best. And although it did not work perfectly, it didn't work exactly how I wanted, there were still some stray armor stands, but it improved the lag. So basically what this meant is you could only use the wand for very small areas. So then spiderrobotman was actually working on a creation of his own, and he was asking in a Skype chat we're in to... someone was asking in a Skype chat I'm in, how to do this. And I was like, oh, that's just like my C = Challenge. And spiderrobotman said, oh, here. And he gave me 3 or 4 commands that achieved just that. Now, if you want, I can put it in the description for you, those 4 commands. But needless to say, that cured the lag problem completely. Completely cured the lag problem. So, once it finishes propagating, the rest is really just all special mechanics. We've got a reset mechanism over here. There are a lot of scoreboards involved. So in theory, this should have been very simple to do, but there were a lot of bugs, a lot of mistakes, and it took me a long time to actually release it. But basically, guys, if you stuck around this long, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, share it with your friends, or better yet, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to check out the jam-packed description for more science. I will see you next time, and of course, I thank you very much for your watching experience. That was weird. Okay, see you later, guys. Bye-bye.